Hey up! Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, hasn't it? And you'll have to just... I'm not wearing my regular gear, am I? The reason being I've literally just got back from work. It's a bit of a long story really what's going on, but there's been lots of delays with my academic work through no fault of mine. One of my examiners had to withdraw because he had a death in the family, and I'm currently a year behind where I should be really for lots of complicated reasons, and I've been, because of the delay and because of separating from Taryn and the financial issues that arise in virtue of those sorts of things, I've been out and get myself a job driving trucks again. And I've worked with cattle now. I've been hauling cattle for the last I don't know, about 4 months since I got back. Well, not perhaps 4 months, 3 months since I got back from helping my mum out with her hip. So it's been a bit of a gong show really. So I'm currently hauling cattle. From Canada down into Utah, and driving semi trucks, but usual kinds of things. I'll show you some photographs and some footage if I can of what I've been doing. But they're quite long days. They're sort of 20-hour days, and I'm too old for this shit, as they say. I've literally just got back this morning from another 5,500 mile week, and as I got back into the yard and I dropped the truck off and did the post trips and all that sort of stuff, and I just flicked through Facebook, and yet again I saw a post on one of the L322 groups that said, how do you jack your car up? And I thought I'd do a very quick video on exactly how you do that. Now there's a lot of thinking about jacking cars up, but folk tend to overcomplicate it really for some reason. I'm not quite sure why that is, but they think because they've got air suspension on them, you've got to treat them differently. Well, to a certain extent that's partly right, but well, they certainly have air suspension on them, but jacking them up in a very complicated process, and folk are like, well, you've got put them in high or put them in lower suspension, and then you've got to do this and do. You don't have to do any of that. It's all bloody nonsense. I don't know why folk tell you you've got to do all these things. It's absolute rubbish. You don't have to do any of that. I've been jacking these things up for, well, 20 years or more, and I'm come to do my tyres here because I'm late driving so many hours. So to drive the car to the yard, park it up there, and we've had some snow flurries and one thing or another, but I haven't really had any need for have these winter tyres on particularly. I haven't gone very far. Anyway, I've come to change these tyres, so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to show you how you jack them up and exactly how, why and all this sort of thing. The electronic systems inside detect the position of the suspension quite frequently, and very occasionally you'll see yourselves coming to a set of traffic lights, and the vehicle will somehow sort of just adjust itself or something, and that's because the body control module determines its orientation within the vehicle and adjusts to make sure that you've got the correct level and the suspension. And folk tends to think that this gets in the way of jacking your car up, but it doesn't. What I can tell you is that I'll keep my key in my pocket, and you must make sure that all the doors are closed. Now there's a lot of folk who'll tell you that opening the door and closing the door will make the vehicle do stuff. It doesn't. What it does is it wakes the car up, and so as soon as you wake the car up, then the body control module determines that if you've got a wheel jacked up, you've got a wheel up in the air, and then it thinks that you might have to do something. I've never had that happen, and I have opened the car doors before, but while the vehicle's up in the air without any drama. But I am going to tell you, just as a practice, it's not a very good idea, if not only because you're imbalancing the jack, the vehicle, you know, with the door open and you're going inside the car and you're jostling it. It's just not a good idea while you've got the vehicle jacked up in the air. Anyway, that plus waking the vehicle up while it's in the jack raised suspension is not ideal. There are many jacks. I use a trolley jack. You'll see it in a bit. I'll show you how to go about it. A trolley jack and a piece of wood. The reason I use the piece of wood is twofold. One, wood doesn't slide on the jacking points quite as easily as steel does, and the second reason is that my cup on my trolley jack is too low. I need one of the deeper cups, really. You can buy them, but I've just never got around to getting one for some reason or other. Now, wood, you have to be careful when you use a piece of wood, because the thing can slide, and so you just must make sure that you correctly position it on top of the steel cup, and that you position the wood and the steel cup directly in line with your jacking point. These L322s do have a like automated whatever they call them, they've got a fancy name, don't they? Like a side step that comes out, like an electronic side step that comes out, and courtesy step or whatever they want to call it. My pal's got one, and I'm going to take some footage of that, because curiously enough I'm doing hers as well today. I'm going to take some footage of those. They should be not deployed. You should switch them off in the cab, not deploy the side steps, and there is a special attachment that you meant to have for jack them up. But if you're very careful with one of these trolley jacks and a dod of wood, you can jack them up under the pivot pin without damaging either the vehicle or the side step. But anyway, with these, you just jack them under the side step and you literally just jack it up. You don't have to put it in low or in high. You don't have to switch it off, lock the car. You don't have to, none of that stuff. You don't have to put it in a special, nothing. It's all nonsense, and whichever people you read, or whichever folk that tell you, oh, the car adjusted it, they've done something else. 25 years or more I've been jacking these things up with air suspension, and I've never, not once, had any issue whatsoever. And I do it on 4 or 5 vehicles twice a year, changing the tyres. Never had an issue, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Right, so these are my 2 bits of wood. I only need these for the well, I use them all on both sides, but I only actually need them for the back, because it's got more axle articulation than the front. But so you can see here there's a square mark in this one. This is just the one I use for the top, and this has got the marks on the bottom from the toe of the jack, and you can just seat that in there, and then this on the top, just to make sure that this part of your jack, the toe of the jack, sits directly underneath your jacking point. Make sure that your jack is in the upright, is in the going up position, lock position. And once this is all in a line, then you're safe to jack. Always leave the jack in the upright position, and I'll find me coloured chalk. I always mark where the tyres are off, and that helps me. Looks like I might have to put my big battery on. You can use an air socket or a manual wheel brace, whatever gets you goat. Now I mark this tyre front right, so that in winter time when I come to put it back on, and you can mark the tyre or the rim, but FR front right. And then when you come to put these front right, when you come to put these back on, you've got an indication of which one came from where, and then you can rotate the tyres accordingly. And this says in it, rear left, RL, rear left. So that wants to be front right, which is this one. And then you just bung it on. And this is the torque stick that I use. This tool basically just permits you to, it gives at the right torque. So when you fasten this onto your socket and the gun moves on this end, there's enough twist in this stick that it doesn't tighten the socket up anymore, so you automatically end up with the right sort of torque setting, if that makes sense. And these come in different sizes. You actually want 100 foot-pounds, but this is 110, just because that kit ended up with, that was the smallest size it did. So this is slightly over the top, which is why I usually keep the smaller battery on, because then I know that it doesn't give it too much power. Not that it'll overgo 110 pounds any road. And then just zip it up. Always go from alternating sides. Before going round in a circle. Lower your jack carefully, giving your jack enough room to manoeuvre. And there you go, it's as simple as that. No messing about, no, just jack it up and change the wheel and put the thing back on the floor. You should always have a couple of these in stock. These are wheel nuts for the Range Rover. I'll flash the part number up on the bottom of the screen here. But the casings, these have got a sort of a chrome cap on them, and the chrome cap, well, the nut underneath the chrome cap actually starts to rust, and it pushes the chrome cap out, and then it can be quite challenging to fit your 22mm socket on it. I've done a bit of a short on this, but you should always carry some of these in stock, and if you start having problems getting the wheel nuts off, or actually more accurately putting the socket on the wheel nut, then you should replace it straight away with one of these, because it'll only get worse. And then at some stage when you want to change the wheel at the side of the road, you'll not get your socket on. So always carry some of these in stock, and when you do swap your tyres or swap your wheels, and you have some difficulty, swap them straight out, and then you won't have any future issues. And I think that's about it really. As I said, only a very short video, this one, because I'm a bit too busy really to record anything else at the moment. I do have to come back off the road very shortly, because I've got to send in another version of my thesis. Not the same version of my thesis, but resubmit it to the university, because they've found another examiner now, and the process has started again. So I've got to mess around with that, and I'm doing some more job applications for academic positions here and there. The job that I want at Lethbridge has turned up, so I'm going to be applying for that, and I'm sort of a bit busy trying to put all that lot together really, and I do apologise for the lack of content. I have got a couple of videos that I've been meaning to record for you, but just no time get it done, which is a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'll throw some footage of the photographs I've taken, and of my current, not that you'd be very interested, I'm sure, but some photographs of my current trucking life. Again, I came to Canada, I don't know whether I've ever told you this, but I came to Canada 20 years ago nearly, drive truck. That's how I came out here. And I came to work for a company called H&R Transport, perhaps I have told you. And I drove truck for them until they took my Kenworth from me, and I ended up driving cattle because I farmed in the UK, as you know. And also I like working with cows, and this is the last bastion really. Cattle hauling is the last bastion of decent trucking in the United States and North America. They've buggered about with the trucks and made them horrible, and this is the last opportunity you get really now to drive anything worth driving, and so it's really probably the last opportunity. They no longer make the 389s. They finished this year, and the W900Ls from Kenworth have finished this year. So there aren't, you just can't. There are no more trucks. There are no more decent trucks. So this is really a sort of a last-ditch attempt to get a few more miles in before it'll go to the plastic fantastic that is taking over all that sort of thing. I'm all for saving the planet, but life's too short to drive an ugly truck, so I don't. Anyway, we'll see how we go. I'll be doing these applications another round. I'll tell you how bad it is. Since October the 31st last year, I've written 67 applications for tenured contracting positions, 18 applications for postdoctoral positions, and 23 applications for sessional teaching. And I've managed to scrounge 2 interviews out of all of that. So that's the situation we're in. Each application's about 400 pages long and consists of anywhere between 5 and 10 documents, including the cover letter and EDI statement, research statement, teaching philosophy, research philosophy, teaching statement, teacher philosophy, teaching evaluations, a whole lot. And they're quite an extensive application, so it's quite depressing when you put all that effort in and nothing comes of it. You know, it probably takes 2 or 3 weeks of solid work to make one application, and then well, you can see how many applications I've made, all to no avail. And one of the very rude things that happens in academia is that they don't actually contact you to tell you that you're not successful in the application. They just don't let you know anything at all, so you've no idea whether you were competitive or not, and you've no idea how to fix you modify your work to make yourself look more competitive. It's quite miserable really. Anyway, that's it. That's all I've got time for this week. I'm going to do another 2 or 3 of these, oddly enough, today, and then an early bath because I'm absolutely shattered. Anyway, thanks very much for tuning in. Please do like and subscribe. It'll be somewhere in the middle, my big flashing subscribe letter. I will promise to try and upload some more content when I get some more minutes, and I'll post you I'll put the number up of these wheel nuts, and that's it. Thanks very much. See you next time. Cheerio.